and welcome back to the only podcast recorded by an author who's walking her dog. I'm your host, Jaimie Engle, and faithfully beside me is Ahsoka Tana Engle. This is the podcast where I help you to write a book that doesn't suck, because I think that's all of our goals. No one wants bad reviews. And today, I thought we'd discuss reconciliation. One of the books or the stories that I use in my book, Write a Book That Doesn't Suck, as an example is Groundhog Day. And because we are still in the midst of the apocalypse / COVID-19, I kind of feel like I'm living in Groundhog Day, where every day is the same. But I don't have the know-it-all to learn how to ice sculpt or throw cards in a hat. But reconciliation is, to me, I think it's one of those tools that writers don't fully develop. We don't fully grasp the power of reconciliation and how it can move our stories from being good to unforgettable. If you think about your favorite stories, or just the stories in humanity that have stood the test of time, like The Christmas Carol, right? That is a beautiful story of reconciliation. You have a man, he is horrible. He's given a chance to see his life past, present, and future, and to make a choice to be reconciled with the people in his life that he has chosen to not be a part of. And we don't get that very often in story. We get pieces of that. We get glimpses of that. We tickle that piece of our psyche with art. But it's those stories that really press into that emotion, that stick with us and change us. You know, you've seen The Christmas Carol done so many different ways. You've seen the Disney cartoon. You've seen the Murray version, Scrooged. Bill's awesome. We'll get to Groundhog Day next. There's so many different versions. There's the one with, oh my God, I can't remember his name, but he was in Star Trek. Oh my God, people are just going to totally drop off of my podcast right now because I don't remember his name or his character name. Not Captain Kirk, but maybe it was Captain. I don't know. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. I haven't really seen that one because it was very dramatic and it was a little too dramatic for me. But then, you've got the version with the guy who, I think he wins the lottery or he just gets to wish his life different. You see it in Click, in a sense, with Adam Sandler, which is, I think, an underrated fun film. It's got a really powerful message, and he actually does some really impressive acting in it. It's a fun film, but it's really got that moment of reconciliation where you get your chance to relive, where you get your chance to fix what was broken. So Groundhog Day, right? Let's go to that one. I love that movie. I've seen it probably as many times as Phil has been stuck in Punxsutawney, which is, by the way, for you nerds out there, sometime between 8 and 10 years. I have a theory, and you can test it, but when Rita calls out the number of bills and cents that are in her checkbook, if you prorate that out by days, or months, I don't remember how I did the math. I'm talking into my phone while I walk my dog, so give me some slack here. It works out to be 8.34 years or something. So I don't know. Do the math, let me know. Anyway, that movie starts off with this douchebag guy, and he ends up repeating his days, and he's stuck in Groundhog Day, which is god-awful because he's in Punxsutawney, which personally I would be thrilled to be in. It's on my bucket list. But for a guy like Phil, you might as well put him in hell. It's one step below hell, I think, for Phil. This guy first is fearful of his life. And then he becomes, I wouldn't say acceptance, but he finds the fun in games. And then he decides he's going to go after Rita. Well, he goes after, I think, a couple other girls too, but Rita. And then he, breaks the law, sees if he can get away with it, and he can. So now it's fun. Eternity is fun. Then it gets kind of boring. And then he decides he's going to make Rita his mission, and he does everything he can to get her to fall in love with him. And it almost works once. But you and I both know, watching it, he cannot continue that charade if tomorrow comes. So it didn't really work. So he's just building more and more problems for himself, really. So when he finds out that that doesn't work, he just decides, I'm just going to kill myself. And even death doesn't accept him. This man needs to change his heart. He needs to change his inner self for even death to consume him. That is powerful. And I also think that's one of the principles in the Christmas Carol, and even in It's a Wonderful Life, that make those beautiful films and stories resonate with us long after we're finished reading them or watching them. So when death doesn't work, that is the moment when Phil has a change of heart and he realizes that he needs to change himself, and he starts to help other people. He tries to help Pop, and he can't do that. And then he goes and he helps the little kid who almost gets hit by a car, and he helps the ladies with the flat tire, and the mayor when he's choking on some meat. Like, it's just one thing after another, and he builds this schedule, morning, where he has to go through the town. And on that one day, the one day when Rita finds him attractive, the one thing he's wanted this whole time, he wants to stay with her, but he knows he has errands to run, and he knows he's got to go. He knows he's got to take care of it. Morning. So in the end, that is what he needed. He needed to be other focused. And once he's others focused, Rita wants him. She desperately wants him. She pays for the pleasure of his company. And he wakes up. And it's February 3rd? It's tomorrow. It happens. And like, that movie just brings tears to my eyes in that end moment, because you see the heart change. You see that transformation from this guy who's just so self-absorbed that he doesn't even like himself, to become this man that just inspires you to kind of look at your own life and see, where am I falling short? Where and who do I need reconciliation? So sorry, my dog, she did her business. Keeping it clean, keeping it green. So I guess in closing, what I really want to encourage you guys to do is to look at the relationships that you've established in your book. Even the silent relationships, like the main character who has issues with his parent. Maybe his parent is dead and he never had the opportunity for reconciliation. How does he find it? What does he have to do inside himself to reach that point? And that's really what I encourage you to do, is to look at your writing, find places where you have these characters, and see where you can really open up that gap between the problem, the initial wound, the hurt, and the result in the character, where they're broken. And then your story doesn't have to be about this, but if you can weave the rebuild in, you will have created some dynamic fiction. Well, that's it for today, and especially because I'm passing someone who's doing some work on their house, it's going to get loud. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, like, and share. As always, you're welcome to join our Facebook community at just search Write a Book That Doesn't Suck on Facebook groups, and you'll find us. We have a podcast, and now we have a Saturday Zoom, which all that information's on the site. And if you enjoyed these tips and tricks, you are welcome to grab a copy of the book on Amazon, or you can reach out to me directly and I'll get one signed and write out to you. Most importantly, what do you want to hear about? What topics are you interested in? Please leave a message below. Go to the Facebook page. Let me know what you want to learn about. I'm happy to share. And we'll build this community together, guys, and we'll all write books that don't suck. Till next time, happy writing.